Hi everybody, I'm Spike Brave, and in this video I'd like to give you a look at the Mining Collective map in Mechwarrior Online. If you've seen the other videos in this tutorial series about the maps, you'll know that my overall goal here is to give new players an overview of the map and let them know about place names that some players use commonly to describe an area of the map that, if you're new, you may not be aware of that name. The good thing about this map is it's one of the newer maps. It's only a couple months old at the time I made this video. And they don't have that in this map. There's really no place names. What you'll hear is talk about the center of the map, and that's really what it means, just the center of the map. Nothing else spectacular or cryptic there. But I do want to give you a look at how the map is played in solo play, and some of the places that may be important to you. But what I do really recommend that you do is go out to the testing grounds and load up this map. It's a big city complex with lots of or I shouldn't say city complex, but industrial complex with lots of buildings in it. So to really familiarize yourself with that, I recommend that you go out there and play around with it and look at it yourself, because there's just a lot of little hidey holes, nooks and crannies, and all kinds of stuff out here. So I really highly recommend that you look at the map yourself and use this just kind of as a guide to know how it's being used in solo play currently. Speaking of teammates and where stuff is on the map, let's talk about our battle grid. You see in the center of the map, or not the map, but the screen at the bottom there, it is a map. And the yellow triangle is my battle mech. It's in E1, as you can see there. And I'm facing that Centurion, and he's out in E2. This is a great way to talk to your teammates. Hey, I'm in E1, I see a mech in E2, and it may not even be important to tell them that you're in E1. Just let them know, hey, enemy mech E2. If you want to know more about the battlefield, just hit the B key, and that brings up the whole map. So anything that you're looking at, like I'm looking at that cent, he'll show up. If I had friendly units on here that were looking at enemy units, they'd show up as well. So this is a great way to get that information and communicate it to the rest of your team. So keep that in mind about this particular tool. And the other thing is, this works for mechs that you're detecting. So I'm detecting him. What that means is he's in you see the arc that comes off my mech there? Those two yellow lines that kind of, one goes at the bottom of E2 and one goes right at the kind of quarter section of D1 there. That's my viewing arc. So if I turn that enough that scent's no longer in it, so we'll keep going. Now he's right at the corner of it, so we'll just sweep him out of it. And there we go, he's gone. I'm no longer detecting him. So keep that in mind. That's how that works, is with that detection feature. So let's start about talking about points of interest. This map is a little different than some of the other maps in that the Conquest points don't share with the Assault points. So let's go look at where some of those Conquest points are. So let's start by going out to E3. Had to write them down. As I said, this is kind of an industrial complex. Nothing real horribly complicated about it. If you have jump jets, you're in good shape. Let's say I saw that catapult, decided I didn't want to fight him. Well, if I didn't have jump jets and I see him right now, my options are try to run to that ramp, and that's probably not great, or run back to that ramp, or I can come behind here. But let's say his buddies are here waiting for me, so I need to get back, or as you can see, overstep there. But jump jets really help out, so I can get back up to where I was, and then I can run away from him by jumping up here. So keep that in mind. Jump jets very useful on this map. I don't want to say it favors mechs with jump jets, but it will help you out quite a bit. So let's go down into E3, and that capture point's going to be right around in the center here, kind of underneath this street light. So there'll be a capture point here. If you're playing Conquest, keep that guy in mind. And something that's kind of neat about this map is there's a dark area behind here. You're in no danger of going out of bounds for quite a bit. And night vision, hit N, or your forward-looking infrared, hit H, can help you see back here. But this is a good spot to do some maneuvering, and especially if you ECM, they'll have difficulty visually detecting you if they're not in those modes. And if we come out on the other side here in E4, I believe the capture point is right about here. So this will be another capture point if you're playing Conquest, and those are pretty close. If you're playing Assault or Skirmish, there's a team that starts out kind of scattered along the one line here, and what they'll do is they'll generally group up and then push along the E or D lines, trying to keep out of the center areas, and then start turning right, and then the other team generally spawns along this 5 line, and they'll push along the B or C line until somebody sees members of the other team, and then one team will decide to turn into the other team, and it's usually around the 3 locations. So in C3 or D3 is where you're going to see a lot of the actual fighting. So keep that in mind. Kind of get the clockwise race around the map. But those are the ways that's kind of used in those modes, and we'll continue talking about the map here. We'll show you where the capture points are for bases as we go through them too. So as we go along the 5 line here, we'll have a base, and let's see if I can find that guy without him actually being on the map. A lot of these areas look similar. There's just buildings to hide behind and duck in between. I do use my mini map quite a bit to navigate, let me know where my enemies are and where base locations are. Alrighty, I believe that base is right here. So depending on where you spawned, if you spawned along the 5 line, this is your base. If you didn't, it's the enemy base. So this base will be here to capture. Throughout these buildings, you'll have turrets scattered around, so keep that in mind. So let's keep going over, and we'll go along the other side and talk about what we see there. As I said, jump jets are very useful in this map, and I can't stress enough how important it is just to go out and take a look at this map yourself. It's I actually had to get a Conquest match because I couldn't remember where some of the capture points were, so I had to write them down so I could make this video. Alrighty, so there's one in B4, and let's see. I'm not 100% sure of its exact location, but it is in B4, so I believe it's right here, but it'll be in this general area if I'm slightly mistaken about the exact location, but it is in the B4 grid, so it'll be around here. I believe it is right here, though. So that is a point of interest, and then we'll go over to B3 real quick, and there'll be another capture point in there as well. So generally what happens, as I was saying, is that in Assault and Skirmish, you will get into fights kind of racing along the sides until somebody sees each other, and that's kind of how that works out. And then in B3 is the other capture point, and I believe it's forward of this location. He is right about, I believe it's right about here. It is. I think it's under this lamp here. Yep, this looks familiar. So this is the other capture point that you'll be fighting over on the sides, and that's really been a look at the sides of the map, and you'll see a lot of this. This is where the main action of stuff goes on along these sides as the 2 teams start jockeying for position. Let's go over to look at the theta capture point and why a lot of people say to stay out of the center of the map. The precise center of the map isn't a terrible location. So what we'll do is we'll go there. This is that theta capture point, and we'll look out into the center. So as we come up here onto this little structure, right here is where that theta capture point is on this little gantry here. So that's the other capture point. And the reason that people say stay out of the center, so I'll look at the center is kind of bisected by this, and if we look over here, that's a nice little pit from either here or along the edges there. You're pretty exposed, so that's why people say stay out of here. Not a horrible place to be fighting from here. If they start pushing into you, it's kind of a death trap. You just can't get anywhere, but it's not a horrible place. And then let's go look at the front part. And again, same kind of thing. There is a bit more cover here with these little dome structures, but still pretty open, pretty dangerous if you're caught out here, especially if there's a lot of LRMs. So let's go look at that, and let's go take a look at that last capture point. But as I said, there's really no place things. People are generally just saying stay out of the center. And this map can be disoriented because of everything looking real similar. And as proof of that, I'm a little turned around. I'm not 100% sure where I am. So what I need to do is hit my battle grid to figure out where I'm at. Alright, D2 is where that other base is. So we'll jump over there. And as you can see, if I didn't have jump jets and I was down in here, I'd have a lot of running around to do to get to where I was going. So keep that in mind. Jump jets very helpful here. So we'll come over here, and like I said, running around on this map is really a good way to learn where things are. And then the other base is... oh, I overshot it. The other base is right up here. So this will be the other base right here. As I said, and as you can see there, even when you're familiar with the map, sometimes you get turned around because of all the structures looking real similar. So keep that in mind. Use your battle grid, and make sure to use your mini map. It'll tell you where your enemies are, where your base locations are. Critical on this map. And as I said, feel free to run out to the testing grounds and take a look for yourself, because it is kind of confusing. It does take a bit of getting used to. And the other thing about this map that's not really a gameplay feature, but I think it's really neat, is if you look up, there's an asteroid, and on the top portion of that asteroid there, kind of where I'm pointing my arm targeting reticule, that looks an awful lot like the hyperpulse generator map. So it may not be that map, but it is possibly a hyperpulse generator. I think that's kind of a neat touch that they included that in here. I think that's just kind of neat. I wanted to share that with you if you haven't actually been on this map and looked up that's there. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it's taught you something. I hope it helps you out. And as I said, go try this one out for yourself. It is confusing, it is hard to navigate, but it is extremely fun. There's lots of places to hide, especially if you're a light with jump jets. This map is very fun to play because you can use that maneuverability to hide and poke and do all kinds of fun stuff. But I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, please leave me a note in the comments below. I'll try to answer it. If there's a particular tutorial or subject you'd like me to cover, go ahead and leave me a note about that too. I'd love to make a video for you. I hope you have great luck on the battlefield, and I hope to see you there. Thanks a lot.